Hello friends, hello. My name is Janessa Oriel and I am Head of Seller Enablement here at Amy, and I'm so excited to be able to do just that. Now, I did not bring my trusty phone today because I really just wanted to have a conversation, and if I had the phone, it would throw me off and I would miss the point and I wouldn't be able to share the information that I have to be able to share with you today. So every now and then we get questions into our incredible support team that comes along the lines of those that are really working their business in the best possible way. And they might be doing it so well that sometimes, and there's a lot of intricacies on this, but I'm going to give you ways to avoid it. Sometimes if they're shooting off text messages, for example, and they're doing a lot of work in a very short period of time, okay, I'm talking like if you sit down and you do one of those, you're sending out 100 texts in 30 minutes or so, right? 3 texts a minute, same message templates, same thing. Sometimes that can fire off some services say, nope, this is spam. So I want to talk about what really is spam and what constitutes spam. And one of the reasons why we don't do mass messaging is to make sure that we're avoiding exactly that. And sometimes because the Amy app makes individuals so successful in connecting with their customers, it can be seen as spam. So how do you avoid that, right? We're going to talk about email. We're going to talk about text messaging, but really I want to be able to have a dialogue. So if you have questions on this, please ask. And if I don't have the answer, which it's entirely possible because it comes up so infrequently that I don't always have the ins and outs, but I would love to answer it as I get those questions if I see them, okay? And if you're here for what we like to call our after party, hashtag after party, our replay, thank you for joining after the fact as well. So let's talk about what makes spam, or what maybe cell phone carriers or email carriers see as spam. Now, the most obvious reason, or the most obvious, is if they're seeing the exact same message over and over. 5 or 6 years ago, I think my timeline's correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. 5 or 6 years ago, it was very popular to have like messages that you would copy and paste from your upline leaders. And the thing about those was all of a sudden, they were utilized in, for example, like we're currently live on Facebook. These copy and pasted messages were coming up over and over, and hi Diana, and Facebook saw that as spam. So they built into their algorithm the ability to recognize when someone is using the same messaging as other users, that's not going to be a genuine message. Kind of a duh when you think about it that way, right? So we want to make sure that everything that you put out there is a genuine and real to you message. It's something that you would absolutely write. It's something that if you're putting out into the world, whether it be on Facebook, text, or email, it's something that you would say, or you would phrase it exactly that way. The reason we have message templates is to make things, hi Lisa, be really smooth and seamless in reaching out to your customers, but you want to make sure that if you're using somebody else's words, it sounds like you. You modify it to sound like you. So that's step 1. Make sure that whatever you're saying sounds like you. That's step 1 to be able to avoid the spam blockers. Step 2 is, I hate to use the word never because never is such a strong word, but I'm going to say almost never send out a link as the last thing in your text message or in your email thread. If you're sending a message and it says, check out this brand new thing, and you send a link to a product, it does not, it is one of those like red flags. Another red flag, all caps, we're yelling at you, we want you to buy things. Total spam, like spam thing, right? That's something that spammers do. So you want to make sure, the beauty of being in direct sales, the beauty of being a nano influencer or an influencer of whatever level, right? The beauty of it is that you have the ability to have these one-on-one conversations, and that's why you use the Sell with Amy app. So things we want to avoid. Again, links, direct links without any additional context or conversation. Ideally, you would say, hi, this is Janessa from Amy. I know you asked about this, and then send a link, but that's only if they genuinely asked about it, right? So like even that makes me go, it would be, what we want to do is avoid links in the first message. Number 1, make them ask for a link, which I'm going to get to in a minute. Number 2, avoid all caps, because all caps is screaming and it's just generally rude, right? It's a spam thing. So if you can, avoid all caps. The other thing you want to do, if your message is like this long, right? If you're on your phone and you have to scroll to see the whole message, you probably should be sending an email. General tip, right? If it's really long, send an email instead, okay? That is more apt for email. You should not have to scroll through. And if you do, it should probably be sent in different segments. It should be more of a back and forth conversation. Any communications with our customers, we want to make sure that you are having a tennis match of sorts. So, for example, hi, this is Janessa with Amy. We talked about the pineapple bookends. Would you want to see a link to that, right? So you want to be able to have them say yes. You want to have them be able to opt in, because you are not a spammer, and no one should ever send stop back to you. If anyone ever sends stop back to you, it means that they think that they're on an automated service and that they are not actually communicating with an individual. That's a big clue to you to evaluate your message templates. Does that make sense? Okay, good. I see friends saying hi to friends in the comments. So we have Stephanie and Lori and Diana and Lisa saying hi to Lori, all sorts of good stuff. So we want to keep these things in mind. Going back to the tennis match, okay? So for example, when we have, when you are asking, so this is best practices, when you are communicating with your customers, you want to ask them a question so they have to respond. That means that they know that you are paying attention and you're not just shoving the words like buy and sell and things like that into their phone, right? You're not interrupting their day with things that they're not necessarily interested in. You genuinely want them to be able to opt in and ask for a link, opt in and ask for more information. You want to ask them a question so they respond, because if you're getting responses other than the word stop, it means that you're not being seen as spam. Does that make sense? Question, good point. Oh yes, asking for a question. Thank you for putting notes in there, Lisa, that's helpful. So we want to make sure, goals, right? Now what are we going to do? If it's short and sweet, you can send it via text. If it's long, it needs to go how? Email. Tip for you for emails, make sure you have a signature that alludes to your company in your email signature. Make sure it has your genuine name, make sure it says if you're interested, and then you can include a link, but you don't have to, right? We want people to have that dialogue back and forth. Are people going to write you back every time? Absolutely not, because we live in a world where we're being bombarded with messages. We're bombarded with sales messages. We're bombarded with advertising. I know that you know what that's like, so you want to consider it from your customer's perspective and understand that the reason that you're in the business that you're in is because you are not doing advertising. You are doing, you're having communication with your customers so they know about you. Lori said, I ask if they've seen the new products. Yes. Have you heard about our monthly limited time offer? Yes. Want a new catalog? Yes. So that's great. Those are great examples of questions, because again, Lori is inviting them to opt into messaging without it being a formal mass messaging. Say yes to opt in, right? Because if you're doing mass messaging, you're not likely using this platform, the Amy platform, for this type of marketing, right? We want to have those one-on-one conversations. There's a reason that Amy was built the way that it was, to make sure that we are not getting flagged. You're having genuine conversations with your customers. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing to message 100 people in 30 minutes, because we have friends that are here that absolutely use the app that have hundreds of customers that they're following up with because they have hundreds of sales in a month. And that is incredible. And if you are one of those individuals, you're likely staying consistent and messaging hundreds of people each day, which means that your cell phone carrier isn't going to freak out and go, what are you doing? We see some weird stuff going on. That's going to be standard, and whatever you want to do, there's a reason we have in message templates tags, so that way it inserts their name, it inserts something about your company, it inserts something different, so that changes slightly, right? But if you are, let's see, what is it? It's the 12th of the month. We're getting to the middle of the month, okay? We're in the middle of the month and someone's doing like a messaging blitz for a booking blitz or something, and you're all of a sudden messaging 100 people in 30 minutes and that's not your standard, that can be a red flag, because then it looks like spam, right? Just think about it logistically and think about it from your customer's perspective. And Lisa said, I wish I had hundreds to do daily. Yes, we definitely have customers, or we definitely have sellers that do hundreds a day. We've had conversations with them. And that is certainly a different level of business, right? But it's out there, and this app works for that. It works really well for those that maybe have tens or maybe 15 orders a month, right? Or even 5 orders a month. There's a reason that we have a 10 message limit on our starter plan. It's because those that are just getting started with their business, they're communicating with like a few customers until they build up to the pro level, Amy Pro, right? So there was a reason we built the things in that we built, but it's important to know there's a way to screw it up. And I'm not saying that to make anyone feel bad, but I'm saying it to let you know we want to make sure that you're setting yourselves up for success. If you have additional questions, please drop them in the comments. I'm happy to answer them. I do also want to give a quick PSA. We will not be going live next week. I am taking some time off because, not next week. Sorry, I will be live next week. I'm getting ahead of myself the week after that. I was just excited. So the end of the month, I will not be here live. Next week I will. So if you have questions, I'd love to be able to answer them. We can talk about how to build up to hundreds of orders in a month, right? I can share tips on that as well. But I really wanted to make sure that we're talking today about being able to avoid being blocked by email carriers or cell phone carriers, and making sure that you recognize what that looks like and how you can continue to be seen as a real person. And for any of our friends, if you're willing to share, I'd love to hear it. If you have been told to quote unquote stop when someone responds to your message, please let us know what that looked like. What did that message template look like? Did it include all caps and a link? Did it include the word buy, sale, free, or any of those words that are like flagging to you are selling things, right? We want to make sure. So Valena says, I need that topic ASAP. I think she's looking to increase her monthly sales. So we'll talk about that next week. Okay. Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this was helpful. If it is, please feel free to share this video, whether you're watching it on Facebook or on YouTube. Please feel free to share it with your team so that way they can understand too how to be seen as a real person when you're messaging your customers and your contacts. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks, friends.